The government of India made it very clear to the athletes, to the Sports Authority of India, to the Olympic Association and anybody who is involved in sports that this lab will be used for checking the tests, this lab will be used for testing Indian athletes, and the athletes will be punished if they are caught in this lab. This started in 1991. This lab conducted 15,000 tests till 2008, till the time it was accredited, out of which about 600 to 700 came positive. Now this list of 257 positives is the number of people who tested positive till 2001. Now the thing is, first of all, in this list itself, there are more than 50 people who were punished, and the others were let off. Their results were put under the carpet. Thereafter also repeatedly tests have been going on in this lab. Certain number of athletes have been punished. The idea is that the many were let off, and those were let off with malified intentions by the respective federations having vested interests in it. So our whole point is that from 1996 onwards, it was a government orders. The government had ordered that any team going abroad for Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, Olympics, all athletes have to go through the test of this lab. Now once they go through the test, every time 200 to 300 odd people when they were tested for a major meet, out of which a few, say half a dozen to 1 dozen will come positive. Now out of which 2-3 will be punished. Rest was
who are the names? Mr. R.K. Anand. Mr. R.K. Anand.
Who were not punished. This is controlled doping. This is controlled doping done by India. This is controlled doping done by India.
That's the point.
A very serious thing has happened since 1966, and for no fault of the athletes, because athletes were ordered that you have to go through the test. And once the things are not proper, once all the people are not uniformly adequately punished as per international law to which everybody is signed, now the results of all these teams since 2006 of the Indian teams right till 2008 have to be set aside. This is the law.
But Mr. Anand, is it true?
This is going to be India's
Mr. Anand, is it true?
Has to be done.
Mr. Anand, tell me tonight, is it true? Is it true, Mr. Anand, that in the name of avoiding a national shame, because we are embarrassed tonight, I'm sure you're embarrassed when you see these doped, in the name of avoiding, under the excuse of avoiding a national shame, you participated in the legal effort to hide these 257 names. Can you hold your heart today and say you did the right thing?
I'm sorry. Mr. Goswami, I think that you are absolutely wrong. You must understand that if judgment is given by a Khap Panchayat, is it binding on the word? If binding is given by somebody, we should not authorize. Is it binding on them? I don't know what kind of shame you are talking about it. Even just a minute. Even as on today, even NADA is not fully equipped, although they have been authorized.
Sir, since you have used strong language tonight,
listen to me. I am doing the cases of at least 10 athletes who have been found to be in a methamphetamine. I find that they are all going to be acquitted. There is no case of that one.
Sir, I am saying put the names of the 257 people out, what's there to hide? Because there are people like P.T. Usha who are going around and saying, 1 minute, sir. There are people like P.T. Usha who are going around and saying that it is wrong that press reports have named us and all. So it is important that people like P.T. Usha and some other of the greats of Indian sport get an opportunity to clear their names. If they need an opportunity to clear the names,
you mentioned the name of P.T. Usha.
Yes.
The name was mentioned in the court of law. I said that we are giving the envelope to the court. It is for the court to decide about it.
Then open the envelope, sir.
Of India and them.
Why hide the envelope?
Are you doesn't come to picture at all?
Why hide the envelope? Tell me, why hide the envelope? The envelope exists.
I am saying we don't come to picture at all.
Is there an envelope? Is there an envelope with 257 names? Is there an envelope with 250 names of sports persons? Is there such an envelope or not?
I do not think so. At least it is not in my possession, not in the possession of the court.
Sir, it exists, and therefore I will hold up tonight.
I'm only asking.
Sir, it exists. I have the paper.
I'm only asking one question. Why did the court not give a direction? Sir, give the names to the public.
Because you said
that was such a
you said, Mr. Anand, that it will be a national shame because greats of Indian sport.
No, I never said it.
Sunita says you said it.
It's the imagination of Sunita Godara. We all talk on the basis of the affidavit.
Sunita?
We never said like
Sunita,
this.
did he say it?
It is the imagination. Imagination of Sunita Godara.
Sunita says is you said
He
it, Sunita.
said in front of the Chief Justice.
It is their
Let
part
her
of court
file.
order.
Let her
It
file
is
the
the part
affidavit
of their court
law.
order.
Okay, let us read the court order.
My
Let us see what is the court
God.
order.
Well,
If the court
Arnab,
says
can I say
there is a
something?
question of a national shame,
well, I'm just saying out tonight, I want to put this out. So that nobody thinks this has been made up. My question is there an envelope with 257 names?
let us read the order of the
Arnab,
court.
Sir, let me
Arnab,
read out a
can I-
part to
can I
you.
just come in,
1
please?
minute. Let me read out a part to you.
Yeah, let's read.
Let me read out a part to
Let's read the
you.
order.
Affidavit filed on behalf of the respondent number 3, Sports Authority of India, regarding compliance with the directions of this Honorable Court dated 29th August 2001. This sealed envelope containing the list of sports persons with the names as available in the Sports Authority of India records, along with complete particulars of the sports person, sample numbers, etc. in relation to sports persons number 257 have been found to have been tested positive during the test carried out by the Sports Authority of India Dope Control Laboratory during the last 9 years, has been submitted to the registrar of this Honorable Court for being available to be called for by this court in the appropriate state, sir. I am not making this up, sir. This part of a written affidavit in court. There is such an envelope. There is such an envelope.
Mr.
You cannot
Goswami,
deny there is such an envelope.
Who has filed it now? Now please
The Sports
repeat.
Authority of India
By the
affidavit,
Sports
sir, I
Authority of
just
India,
read
not
out.
by IOA.
Arnab,
Sir, there is an envelope. Yes, Rahul. There is an envelope.
Read. Who's given
Arnab,
it?
Arnab,
Given by Sports Authority of India.
Bring the names out.
I don't understand.
Arnab,
Bring the
Arnab,
names out.
it all happened in the year.
Read the order. Read the order
Arnab,
again.
it all happened in the
Read
year
order
2001.
again. It is Sports
From
Authority of India.
2001, we have travelled a distance. In between, there was 2005 when the RTI came in, and in 2009, all these sports associations, including the IOA, are declared to be public authorities. Anybody can go under the RTI, and in fact, your channel can go under the RTI and take this 257 names out and throw it in the public domain.
What's the
So
big
number
secret?
One. Number two, Arnab. Arnab, number two, there is no secrecy to this. Anybody can go. Unfortunately, nobody has. Maybe I tomorrow, you have given me the wisdom. Maybe tomorrow I can go and file that RTI. But number two, then more importantly, why is it that the IOA and Mr. R.K. Anand is defending the undefensible is only because of one point which I want to make.
Defending anybody.
In 2008, Wrestling Federation of India was banned by the IOC. And IOA went to the government of India and said, we are bankrupt, kindly provide us money as loan. We want to get Wrestling Federation of India back into the domain. They protect people who enter into doping and bring national shame. That federation was not banned. However, IHF was banned because there was one KPS Gill whom the IOA chairman did not like, Mr. Kalmadi, and he banned that organization. So there are whims and fancies, there are double standards, and which is why Indian sports is where it is today.
I am asking Dr. Manmohan Singh, do you tonight support as a member of the Indian Olympic Association, do you support the revealing of the 257 names, or do you support the continued cover-up of the 257 names?
Arnab, there is no question of my supporting the cover-up. There is no question. As chairman of the commission, I have been instrumental in taking action against people who've been tested positive in the national games in Guwahati and the national games in Hyderabad, as well as the Afro-Asian Games and the Commonwealth Games. Now the point is, there has to be a legal process. If that legal process does not support the taking of action or revealing of the names, it cannot be done.
Sir,
Now,
why are you hiding behind legalese?
Whether I like it or whether you listen to me, Arnab,
sir, 1
please.
minute. Listen to me. Sir, 1 minute.
Please listen to me.
1 minute, sir.
This is not on.
Let me ask you something.
If you ask me a question,
I have a specific question.
If you ask me a question, first you have to listen to me.
Let
if
me
you ask me a question, you let me answer it.
Okay, answer.
Just because you are the anchor doesn't mean
answer.
that
I will ask you a specific question after that.
Okay.
Answer.
No. Point is that there has to be a legal process. If that legal process is met with and that legal process allows you to reveal the names, why not do it? I am the first person who would support that. But if the legal process does not support you, then we sitting in the news channel or in this panel cannot be judge, prosecutor and executor all put together.
Sure, thank you very much.
Arnab, I have a question
for Rahul Mehra for you. Yeah.
Can you please cite an order of the Honorable Delhi High Court before which this case was going on or is still going on, which prevents you and prohibits you from placing these names in the public domain? If it is, kindly give us the date of that order. That means you are choosing to side up with the culprits who have brought national shame on India. If there is no order, restrictive order from the High Court.
Respond.
There is no question of a restrictive order. The question is...
follow it.
1 minute. Manmohan Singh, let him respond.
Yeah,
Let
you
Dr.
follow
Manmohan
it.
Singh respond.
You get an order. You get an order that it should be. Otherwise, you know, the
Why should
Indian
anybody
Olympic
get an order?
Association,
Isn't it your moral responsibility to bring it before the nation as to who are the people who, under the garb of representing India under the national flag,
there is no
are
question of
cheating
morality in this. There is no question of morality in this. You can't just shout and
Is there a
think
restrictive
that
order
won't
by the
make
High
you
Court or
right.
not?
Dr. Singh, 1 minute.
Why
Rahul.
are you restraining
No,
yourself from putting it in public domain?
Rahul, 1 minute. Rahul, 1 minute.
That is not true.
Here's
That is not true.
Dr. Manmohan Singh. Dr. Manmohan Singh.
There has to be a due legal process. Whether we can take action on a report on the tests which are undertaken in an unaccredited laboratory is the question.
Dr.
Not
Manmohan
whether
Singh, I have a question for you.
You want it or anybody.
Dr. Manmohan Singh, I have a question for you. And with all respect to you, sir.
Yeah.
The highest respect for you. I have no intention of being either accuser, prosecutor or judge, though that statement is often made. Here's a question. I don't understand, Dr. Manmohan Singh. It's not some, local chocolate factory we are talking about. We are talking about the Sports Authority of India, who, unlike chocolate makers, understand what happens in sport. Why does the Sports Authority of India get so many thousands of athletes tested in an unconfirmed lab, unless there is a hidden motive to later on say that even if you are declared positive, you can use the argument that it was an unconfirmed lab to get out? Why would anybody do that?
Yeah.
Why would you test anyone in an unconfirmed lab? Please understand that.
I agree with you that
it's ridiculous.
I fully agree with you that this should not have been done.
But
if the lab is not accredited, we should have used labs abroad.
So who was punished from the Sports Authority of India, sir? So who was punished from the Sports Authority of India so far?
Sports Authority of India. No, you can ask the Sports Authority of India this question. I am in no position to answer for them. But let me tell you, I fully agree with you that any test... No, I am not representing Sports Authority of India. Sorry, I told you in the beginning.
You're defending them.
No, I am not defending them also. No, I am not defending anybody. I am just telling you that Sports Authority of India in the first place should not have got them tested in the laboratory which was unaccredited.
But on
in the Guwahati National Games, I did not allow the tests to be conducted in the sports in the Delhi lab because it was not accredited, and I had sent all the tests to Bangkok lab, which at that time was
Dalbir
accredited.
is asking something.
So that was precisely the reason.
Dalbir is asking something. Dalbir.
Now, first of all, there are labs all over the world. Before they get international accreditation, they go through a national process in which they test their national athletes. So Sports Authority of India was doing nothing new. It did conduct 15,000 tests. The tests were all authenticated by the Government of India and the Sports Authority of India and all the federations. Now, as per International Olympic Charter, if any of the federations have got any doubt on any kind of illegality, not only in testing in an unauthorized lab or something to which they do not agree, they should have taken a case with their international federations and to the International Olympic Committee, which none of these people took.
They did not.
Always agreed on paper to the Government of India's testing. 15,000 tests were carried out over a period of 16 years from 1991 till 2008. Out of those 15,000, more than 150 people have been punished using this. So these people have picked up the positives, out of which whimsically they have given the answer. Whichever athlete was already their bonded laborer,
I just hope
allowed them to be used as bonded laborer, was allowed to let go. Others were punished.
I just want to be candid here and say one thing, because I'm running short of time. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Unethical totally.
Dalbir Singh, I just want to make one point. Now, Norris Preetham, yes, go ahead.
Yes, what these gentlemen are talking about is that so many cases in SAI they were catching. Actually, the problem is that what SAI was doing was something very, very illegal. They were screening athletes. They were not testing. They were screening athletes before international championship to put up a clean image, which is illegal. The idea of dope testing is to catch an athlete unawares and eliminate him from the clean athletes. Here what we were doing is cleaning the athletes before international championship, and because we were using masking agents, I have an authority, I can say this, and those who were clean, they were being sent abroad, and some pretext or the other, those who were suspicious cases, they were being sent, they were asked to stay back. And I'm sure, like today, in today's context, what is happening, tomorrow the Asian Championship is starting in Kobe, and I'm 100% sure you will get some more names caught there. And those who are some notable absentees will be there. They will withdraw their name for fear of getting caught.
We trust these organizations.
So it's an organized. It's an organized thing that is happening.
We trust these organizations. They represent the nation. We can't be taken for a ride anymore. I think the Sports Authority of India needs to explain with retrospective effect why it let 257 athletes go free. All the greats of Indian sport who are pointing fingers at these 8 now need to insist instead that the list of 257 comes out, and hopefully it includes none of them. Most importantly tonight, what was the IOC doing? What was the IOA doing? What's the real story? Let's expose it all, because this is the great Indian dope trick that is going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we will follow the story like we follow many of our exposés. For coming on the show tonight, for coming on the channel tonight, to my guests, thank you very much. And I will see you on the News Hour once again tomorrow, same time, 9 p.m. with a lot more. Till then, good night and goodbye.